World of Metaphysics, bringing you another law of attraction lesson. Today I want to speak to you about how I improve my health with prayer. The reason I say improve my health, I'll get to that later. Well, let me just tell you what it is. Many people write me and they say, can you speak more on healing? Do you know anything about healing? And my first thing to that is make sure you go to the doctor. Always make sure you go to the doctor. God put doctors here for a reason. And remember, everything comes from the universe. So it doesn't matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, whatever. It all comes from the universe. So God put doctors here to do his work. Okay? So what I tell people to do is, if you got an ailment or anything, seek medical attention. Now, here I go. I'm not saying that because I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm saying that because it's the truth. Seek medical attention first. Like if you have cancer, you go seek medical attention first. And then we're going to work around. We're going to work with the subconscious, the spiritual realm to take care of whatever else needs to be taken care of. But you always have to seek medical attention first. So now, what I'm going to talk to you about is my own personal experience. Yes, I'm putting it out there, my own personal experience. And you can take it one way or the other. I take it the other way. I take it as a miraculous healing. So here I go. I've always had problems, female problems with fibroids. Well, not always. It started when I was in my 20s. I had a little small fibroid. And then before I knew it, I had so many fibroids. Now, let me just explain to you. I mean, I know there's men and people watching this. When you have fibroids, you're either going to have pain one way or another. You're going to have excessive bleeding to the point that you may become anemic. You may need a transfusion. You might pass out. You might get cramps. They might twist around one another. Fibroids affect a lot of women. I mean, so many women. I mean, so many of my friends have the same problem. It doesn't make any sense. I'll make a video about that later. But what I wanted to say is that I had this problem, and I can actually say my problem was worse than than most people that I know, my problem, because I had it for so long, since I was in my 20s. When I say bleeding, during my menses, sorry guys, I was bleeding all over the place. I mean, I would have my menses twice a month because of it. So I had a myomectomy where they take out the fibroids, but they leave the uterus. And it solved the problem for a while, and then I started bleeding again, okay? So what had happened is that I wanted a child at that point. So I didn't want to have a hysterectomy. It wasn't an option for me. So I had the myomectomy. So from there, I was still bleeding. I mean, and the fibroids were growing back. So I said, okay, I'm causing this. Totally, I am causing this, for these fibroids to be growing and stuff like that. But like I said, I'll make that another video. So what I would do is I would imagine the fibroids shrinking. And I would imagine them shrinking. I would lie there and imagine my uterus and my body. And I would imagine that the growth that was in there was shrinking. And I would do this all the time. I would do this. Then, as you know, I'm part of religious science, and we believe in spiritual mind treatments. So I then had a treatment done. Even though I could do my own treatments, I had a treatment done by one of the colleagues at the church. So the main thing was that you have to realize, where is it coming from? You have to realize basically that you are part of God and God is part of you. And that God is perfect and God resides in you and God made you perfect. Okay? Now, whatever we see on the outside is basically created by ourselves or through some way or another, through the dynamics of us being here for some reason. Okay? But most of the time things are here and things appear in our lives because we created them. So the idea was to get myself to realize that I am perfect, that I am perfect. I'm a perfect being. And when you do a spiritual mind treatment, you don't focus on the problem. You focus on who you truly are. So I was given a spiritual mind treatment, and I am not going to tell you any lies. I'm sweating because it's hot. It's like 90 out here. I'm not going to tell you any lies. I stopped bleeding immediately. Now, some people might say, well, maybe you were going perimenopause or you were getting ready to go into menopause, which I did. Once I decided that I wasn't going to have any children, I talked to God and I said, okay, God, I'm not having any children. Okay, so it's either hysterectomy or I stop bleeding. And when I went and had that treatment done, the spiritual mind treatment, you can look it up. In fact, I did a video on that, and you can go back and find that video, the correct way of prayer. After I had that prayer done for me, acknowledging who I truly am and that I am a child of God, I immediately stopped bleeding. When I say I totally stopped bleeding, I mean, it was more like I was anemic. My hemoglobin, I'm not going to go into the nursing thing, but I was basically borderline for a blood transfusion. And I've been like this for years and years and years, but I didn't want to receive any blood, so I would take iron or whatever I needed just to make sure I was okay. When I say I got that spiritual mind treatment in the end of August, beginning of September, I stopped bleeding. And when I can tell you right now, I had a menses, but it was like a spot. After that treatment, it was almost like God heard the treatment, the prayer, and said, okay, you're not going to have any children, so let's just take care of this. I went through perimenopause at an early age. I would not lie to you. And not really early, but earlier than what the norm was, okay? So it was like God just took me into perimenopause. And I would have a menses, but it would be so light, basically you wouldn't even see it, basically. But what got me, this all happened at the time when I had my prayer. You can believe me, you cannot. The thing was, it was the person that was giving the prayer seeing me for who I was, as a person of perfection, a godlike person that is part of God and God is part of me. That person acknowledged me as being a perfect being having a human experience, a spiritual being having a human experience, a spirit that is perfect in all ways. And then once I was prayed for in that type of way, God worked it out that I totally just stopped bleeding. Now, you're probably saying, okay, well, what happened to the fibroids? It got to the point that I wasn't bleeding. I totally thought the fibroids just disappeared. But when I went back to the doctors, it was still there. Same size, everything, just sitting there. But I wasn't no longer bleeding. You can actually feel it, but I wasn't bleeding anymore. So the doctor was like, wow, Eyvette, you just totally just stopped bleeding. When I tell you it happened exactly when I received my prayer, people might say, well, maybe it was just your turn to go perimenopausal. Maybe so. But why did it happen at the same time I received prayer? What I'm telling people is that the idea of begging and pleading, those days are over. You have to know who you are and expect what you want. And God will move mountains to get it done. No, I wasn't expecting at all to go into menopause. But that's what God did to take me out of this problem. Now, what I want to tell you is that I've been going through this for years. And it's resolved now. It's been resolved for a couple of years now. But I watch a lot of my friends have hysterectomies. A lot of them. And their symptoms were nowhere near what I was going through. Nowhere near it, what I was going through. Nowhere. So I look back and I say, wow, I can't believe how God took me from that situation and just totally took me along another path through menopause to perimenopause to actually stop the bleeding. I'm sitting here, I got all my parts in me, and I watch other people that had theirs taken. And it all started when I had a spiritual mind treatment, a scientific prayer. Now, if you don't know what a spiritual mind treatment is, I'm asking you to go back and look through my videos, and you'll see a video on the correct way of prayer. Now, the thing I want to remind people is, if you have an ailment and you are seeking medical attention, what I want you to do is use your imagination to create the situation for what you want it to be. Lie there at night or in the morning and visualize yourself being perfect, whole, and complete. Visualize whatever's going on in you be completely healed. Now, you can be creative. You can make like God has put little soldiers in you, and they're in you fighting off whatever's going on in your body. No matter if it's cancer, fibroids, whatever. Or you can imagine the white light of God radiating down on your body and just shining light on your body and like shrinking whatever is in you that needs to be resolved. The mind is powerful. The subconscious knows all and is connected to God. What I'm telling people is know who you are and know your power that resides in you. The power that's in you is the power that created you and created you in a perfect way. I'm trying to tell people to watch my video on the spiritual mind treatment. The thing is, I'm just going to tell you real quick, is stating what you're trying to do. Second of all, you're going to get down to the bottom of it though, okay? So if you got an ailment, your focus is going to be on knowing that you're perfect, whole, and complete. Now, the next thing is knowing that there's a greater power out there inside of you that is all powerful, all creative, always present, and all knowing, that resides everywhere. That's acknowledging that God is everywhere and God is all that there is. Then you want to acknowledge that this almighty force is part of you because this force is inside of you. Then you're going to declare. It's like you putting a stamp on it, stating what you want. But what I'm asking you to do, you don't focus on the negative. You're only going to focus on the positive. So no matter what's going on in your body, your focus is going to be on being perfect, whole, and complete. Seeing the beauty that it is. Seeing the white light of God shining on you. You know, radiating your body, making you the beauty and the healthy person that you truly are. Then you're going to release any fear, worry, doubt, negativity from you that could be blocking your manifestation of being perfect, whole, and complete. Then you're going to affirm again that you are perfect, whole, and complete. And then always put a stamp on it. Declare that it is so. And release it to the universe. And then say, so it is. So it is. Puts a stamp on it. And it says, this is already done. And then you go about your business. Okay? So I just wanted to talk to people about how I had this bleeding problem. I'm going to tell you right now, it's been 4 years. And I have not been bleeding. To the point that I actually thought the fibroids was done. My fibroids have not grown since then. And I have not had a bleeding episode. I think I had some spotting, but for 4 years. And I'm going to tell you right now, I tell everybody, God brought me into perimenopause just so that I could stop bleeding. Okay? And I've watched so many people go through hysterectomies and whatever else they were going through. But it was a prayer that helped me. Okay, I don't know if this video helped you, but I do want you to look up spiritual mind treatment, and you can look up Ernest Holmes, and I wish you guys the best with whatever's going on in your life. And please keep watching my videos, because I'm going to do some more videos being a little more in depth with the healing. I just wanted to talk to you about what was going on with me, and I'm going to leave now. So this video was on healing, how I improved my health through prayer. Namaste.